And now I hope each one of you are ready for an evening that aims to show you the best of art, creativity, and fashion. And I can see a lot of smiles, and it's wonderful to see people smiling. It gives me a lot of energy. And the culmination of all the three worlds and the immortal wonders that they create. We look at art as something that is timeless, as being a piece of work that lives long after the creator has passed on. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we meet 12 of India's finest designers who have each created unique pieces inspired by a work of art. And this amalgamation of fashion and art has resulted in creations that are truly one of a kind that you will be seeing right now. It's capable of surpassing boundaries and traditions. We do hope that you enjoy this. Let's begin with our first designer duo, Abraham and Thakur.
We were inspired by the artist Nasreen Mohammadi's body of work to design this garment. We've always been fascinated by the way her use of line and the way she worked with very minimal elements.
So that was Abraham and Thakur, inspired by Indian artist Nasreen Mohammadi. And as you can see now, their stunning body of work. In fact, both the designers are inspired by Nasreen's line-based drawings, which was the primary feature that the designer duo have used to create this masterpiece. The designers also use minimal elements in their work, as you're seeing, and this similarity in both the design philosophies is clearly a match made in art heaven. That was Abraham and Thakur. And our next designer, ladies and gentlemen, is Anavila Misra.
The artist that I've chosen for the India Today Art Awards is the Dutch painter, Mr. Vincent van Gogh. The way the stars are painted shows a kind of hope.
Anavila Misra's muse is the tortured Dutch artist Vincent van Gogh. In fact, interestingly, she draws her inspiration from Van Gogh's very famous Starry Nights. In Starry Nights, Van Gogh uses his conflicting emotions to denote the despair and hope that reside together in the painting. Anavila attempts to recreate the same. In this movement, this play, this duality of despair through which hope appears, that Anavila aims to capture in her design. And now let's hear it from Bobo Calcutta. And where does he draw his inspiration from?
My look is inspired by the 19th century French artist Henri Rousseau's real and dreamlike landscapes in which the abundance of foliage, humans and the animal life stands reinforced by the neatness and clarity of their execution.
And this is very interesting. Bobo Calcutta drawing his inspiration from the 19th century French artist Henri Rousseau's real yet dreamlike landscapes in which the abundance of flora and fauna stands reinforced. And as you can see, we see a vibrant, almost childlike effect with the use of vivid colors and playful imagery. But the placement of each element suggests a hint of just how it looks draped on a body. An absolutely beautiful piece by Bobo Calcutta. And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our next designer, Gaurav Gupta, and let's see what inspires him.
There's this infinity to Monet's work where there is, the brush strokes go into the water and the sky and the clouds, and it all kind of merges together.
So that's Gaurav, Monet and the Impressionist movement that gives him the inspiration, the creative inspiration that he needed for this beautiful piece. As you see, he sees a sense of infinity to Monet's work and the way the brush strokes that make the sky, the water and all of nature look alive and fluid. The rhythm within the painting inspired Gaurav's exceptional design. And now let's hear from Kiran Uttam Ghosh and where she draws her inspiration from.
I've drawn inspiration from Austrian artist Gustav Klimt. I love his richly shimmering gold-dominated palette.
One of my personal favorites, Kiran drawing her inspiration from Austrian artist Gustav Klimt. In fact, she says that Vienna at that time was a wild city filled with decadence and artistic experimentation, something that resonates within his work, something that Kiran herself hopes that each one of you are seeing in her creation tonight. Kiran draws special attention to the way Klimt creates mosaics, the triangles, the rectangles, and the concentric circles, which now each one of us call the Klimt curve. And now let's hear it from designers Pankaj and Nidhi and hear it from them where they draw their inspiration from.
For this garment, we were really inspired by the Japanese art of origami. It is one of the most beautiful art forms that we have seen, the art of paper folding.
This is amazing, the confluence of origami and fashion. Here you have designers Pankaj and Nidhi looking to Japan and the art of origami to create the design that you're seeing. They marveled at the labor of love that goes into creating each piece of origami as well as the garment. And here you see both of them using minimal and contemporary take on this garment, which is not really unlike the take that Pankaj and Nidhi have on fashion. Our next designer is Rahul Mishra. Let's hear it from him and find out where he draws his inspiration from.
My inspiration came from Dutch graphic artist MC Escher's work. The MC Escher was known to create metamorphosis kind of artworks where negative and positive used to interchange, and it was a quite playful storytelling kind of series what he did.
Memory is mostly an imagined sequence, says Rahul. He says it's hazy in parts, sharp in bits, sometimes even black and white. Inspired by the work of Dutch graphic artist Maurits Cornelius Escher, Mishra aims to collapse the nostalgia that makes us long for what only remains in memory. In fact, the look that you're seeing right now illustrates an act of remembrance, a suspension of disbelief, most importantly, a confession of memories, just like cities go through a constant metamorphosis. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Rahul Mishra for you. And now let's hear it from Rimzim Dadu.
I've been inspired by Salvador Dali. As a designer, I like to play a lot with different materials and experiment with different materials. For example, this particular garment has been made by steel wires.
The showman, Salvador Dali. Surrealism and his work inspires Rimzim. Working and experimenting with different materials is second nature to her, as you just heard her saying that. This garment that you see before you has been created very interestingly by steel wires. Now from a distance, it appears quite stiff and structured. But if you come closer, you'll find something very different altogether. It's soft, it's moldable to any shape. This outfit defines the way Dadu looks at surrealism. Wonderful. And now let's hear from Samant Chauhan.
This garment is inspired by Delhi-based artist Vibha Galhotra, and her body of work all talk about the whole environment issue. The idea of making this garment and this texture and these lines depicting that how the human being is interfering the whole environment, and that's the concept of the garment.
It's fascinating how someone draws his inspiration from the environment, a subject that demands our urgent attention, a subject that means just so much to each one of us. He met Delhi-based artist Vibha Galhotra a few months ago, And here he is creating a design to depict the effect of humanity's interference in the environment and the dangerous and fatal aftermath of our constant meddling and interference. Ladies and gentlemen, Samant Chauhan. And now let's hear it from the very famous designer duo, Shantanu and Nikhil.
We've always loved playing with different facets and different emotions of India. For us, a Fulkari is a very important aspect of that particular culture, but we like to make it contemporary.
Shantanu and Nikhil drawing inspiration from back home. India's rich heritage of textiles and art is where Shantanu and Nikhil looked to for their vision. As you can see, the work that you see shows the craftsmanship of the most minute and intricate details on the long line cape, while in true Shantanu and Nikhil style, the outfit is made contemporary. It's quite fresh, if you can see, with the use of leather and some very dramatic sleeves. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from designers Shivan and Naresh.
The sari that we present today is a Koikol sari inspired by the Gond art tribes of Madhya Pradesh. In terms of techniques, the art form takes forward the fantastical animals that are represented in the art forms by the tribal arts.
Wonderful, isn't it? They draw their inspiration from the Gond art tribes of Madhya Pradesh. In fact, as you heard both of them say, it's an art that's very personal to them. It's very close to their hearts. In fact, both of them grew up watching this kind of art. The art form takes ahead the fantastical animals that are represented in the art forms by the tribal arts, which is what you're seeing right now. And if you take a closer look at the print on the sari. What a beautiful creation. And now for our last designer, Sunit Verma. Let's hear it from him and where he draws his inspiration from.
This particular ensemble is inspired by Salvador Dali. He was a surrealist artist and he sort of made you think a lot.
So we have Sunit Verma also, who's once again inspired by Salvador Dali. He decided to do this gorgeous draped sari. But if you notice, it's not really traditionally the way that you've seen a sari to be draped like. Just like Salvador Dali's painting can be interpreted in multiple ways, the sari can be draped in several ways as well. So you can look like a lotus or sometimes like a glamorous diva and take on a lyrical form quite unlike what you have seen before. Sunit Verma for you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand finale, we'll have all of the arts showcased together. Enjoy this. and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and celebrate this moment. Art meets fashion. This is a stunning display, as you see, of art creatively put by some of India's most finest designers. Let's applaud the magic that's been created that you're seeing right now while we celebrate Indian art and fashion. Let's hear it once again for all of the designers, our artists, our awardees, and the gorgeous ladies as well. With that, we come to an end. So let's hear a loud applause from each one of you. Wasn't that absolutely beautiful? Stunning pieces there. A wow moment.